So let's talk about babies. You're probably like, wait, what? This is supposed to be a channel on non-duality. What do you mean, babies? Well, this is actually a series on the intersection between non-duality and native wisdom. Native wisdom would always include babies, particularly if women are involved, right? So let's talk about babies. So we did a week where we talked about language and how language creates the thoughts. All the thoughts that are in our minds are created by the language that we know, and how the particular language that we know, English, is a very divisive language just by itself because it divides things into independent things that are separate and not interconnected to each other, just in the very concepts that we use every day. Then we talked about history and how history has actually helped create this language, and how the only history that we have heard is from the conquering cultures. We have erased so much of reality with our history. So once we bring these things back into reality, then we can start using the tools of non-duality to help bring us into this natural state where we can and need to be living. One of the things that I'm pointing to is just a series of books that are very, very great to read, and I have them listed on my website, maprimzarine.com. And I want to talk about one now called Sand Talk. And this is a very interesting read by an Aboriginal man from Australia. Several important things. Australia, way far away. What's so interesting about Australia is that human beings managed to get over there, just a small little tribe, like 80,000 years ago, maybe 60,000 years ago, but a long time ago, and then ended up just isolated there until finally the conquering white man came way later. So super, super isolated. Yet when you hear their native stories, it's not the same story, but the actual worldview that they're talking from is exactly the same as anything we hear from, Native American or somebody from South America or the Sami tribes with the reindeer. So Sand Talk. So he has this one little part. Read the book and you'll get to it and you'll see that he tells this way, way better than I can tell it. But I'm going to give just a little snippet of this story. He says that the center of the universe is the baby. Because, when there's a baby, you can just feel it. All attention goes to the baby. Just, you look at a baby and you just literally wake up, and the magnetism of looking at the baby. So all the energy of the tribe and the center of the universe is the baby. And then the next circle around that is the mother holding the baby and telling the baby stories. So the stories that the mother is telling. And so then he goes on and gives, the circles and circles and circles that everybody's in. But the one thing I want to paint here is the idea of how everybody in an integrated tribe like this starts as this baby, just the center of attention. And literally a baby in a native community would never be sat down. They would just be handed from person to person to person. And not just the mother would be responsible for raising this baby, because all the attention goes in. And then the baby gets a little bit older, and then another baby gets born. And now that baby's attention goes to the center, but the baby hasn't come completely out of the circle yet. And so the child grows slowly out of this circle with their attention still tons of attention being focused on them, but then their attention being focused in. And then when you grow into an adult, you grow into a fully functioning adult with no residual need to be the baby or to be the center of attention anymore. And now what you are is you are the support of this center of the universe, and all the way up to the grandparent. And what's really cool about this story in Sand Talk is that then 6 generations later, you are born back into the center again. And so then you grow out, and then you're still the support of the circle, and then you're back in. And so everything between the humans is connected, and the baby is the center of the universe. So imagine growing up that cared for by tons and tons of people. There was recently just an article, I think it was in The Atlantic by David Brooks, about how the 2-person family is just such a disaster. Mom and dad raising the baby. I mean, there is way too much to do to raise a baby for 2 people to try to do it, much less 1. But imagine a baby whose every need is filled. A baby who never has to cry for attention because attention is just given. Now this is the ripe fullness of the world that this child lives in. And then as they grow older, now they're strong and able to be part of what's giving and giving and giving to everyone. This is the reality that human beings used to live in until we started having written word, until civilization happened and everything started falling apart.